Hey, welcome to the Push-Pull Sales and Marketing Podcast. I'm Marcello.
And I'm Sherry, and each episode will provide you with sales and marketing strategies that you can implement immediately into your own business. Today, you guys get to listen to an interview that Marcello did with Ryan Stewman of thehardcorecloser.com. If you go to his website, there are a ton of resources available to you there, both free and paid. And I think you're going to appreciate that Ryan is who he is. He's very clear about his history, his current state, his numbers, and how he can help you get to that next level. So it's definitely a must listen if you are in sales or anything related to it, and definitely check out his resources to take things to the next level for yourself. Enjoy.
All right, so we have Ryan Stewman of hardcorecloser.com. He also has a pretty kick-ass podcast as well. Ryan, welcome to the show.
What's up, Marcello? Man, I'm excited to be here with you and your people tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like the energy. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a native Texan. I think if you look up Proud Texan in the dictionary or on Wikipedia, there's a picture of my smiling face. And I was born in Dallas. I can actually see the hospital I was born in out the window of my penthouse right now. And been in sales my entire life, never had a salaried job, never taken a paid vacation or any of that stuff that the corporate Americans get to enjoy as part of their benefits. I've been in sales my whole life. I've probably closed at this point somewhere over 30,000 sales for sure. And I've sold it all, from cars to mortgages to real estate to digital products and technology, you name it. I sit on the board for several different corporations, and I own several different corporations myself, and I am what you would call a serial entrepreneur. However, my stuff actually works. There's a lot of serial entrepreneurs that got their hands in a lot of stuff that don't pay, and I've been fortunate enough to become a serial entrepreneur in the sense I stay with something until I get it up and running and profitable, and then move on to the next thing. So
I definitely appreciate you saying that too, because I think two actual, I guess, titles or whatever you want to call it, consultant and what you said, serial entrepreneur, both those have starting to get a negative connotation, because a serial entrepreneur, for my business personally, I've dealt with a couple serial entrepreneurs who started and they started paying their bills, and then things went south and they ended up going bust, and then 2 weeks later they open up something new trying to do the exact same thing. So serial entrepreneur, I like that you actually take it and you get things off the ground. The other thing is consultant, and I see that's also on your website there. It's also gotten a negative connotation because there's a lot of people out there who are definitely, I don't know, I hate to use a 90s word, but posing.
Yeah.
Now, when you're not traveling, when you're not working on sales, when you're not working on your own businesses, what do you like to do for fun?
Well, my fiance, soon to be wife, and I, we like to travel. We do the vacation stuff a lot. We go out. We're very well known in the social community here in Dallas. We're known as the couple that drinks and has fun. Right? So we're really active in the community here, and it's really weird. My hobby is business and sales, and I don't know why that's like a weird thing. A lot of people are like, that's not a hobby, that's a job. But to me, it's something, strangely enough, that I'm really passionate about. So if we're not doing date night or going out on the town here or taking a vacation, I work. And even when we take vacations and stuff like that, I work because I really enjoy what I do for a living. I really do.
Very cool. All right. So what is your main focus right now? So what are you currently doing?
Yeah. So our main business is called Hardcore Closer, like you mentioned, the website. And the blog gets about 500,000 hits a month, and we sell all sorts of stuff on that website, a bunch of e-learning products.
Okay.
And so you log in, you learn how to run Facebook ads, you learn how to create funnels, or you learn how to sales processes or email, like whatever you're looking for, we sell it on that website. And so I do a lot of advertising on Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. what I consider a lot of advertising, about $40,000 a month between all of them. And we sell these e-learning products to people who sell real estate, mortgages, things like that. We just crossed the $1 million mark for the year 2 days ago. So
cool.
So we sell a lot of it.
And I can tell you, your ads are definitely effective. I'm more of the sales guy. My wife, she's more the marketing person, especially on the actual digital side. And when she asked me about you, I was like, yeah, I see this guy's ads all the time. Yeah, I recognize the name. So you definitely do a good job getting your name out there, and you also do a good job differentiating yourself, because I see a lot of ads for other digital products for other salespeople. I mean, if you look at my Facebook profile, it matches well. You're like trying to target a salesperson. So how do you end up then going from selling cars, mortgages, to starting your own business, selling the e-learning courses and running hardcorecloser.com? How does that happen?
So I went to prison in 1999 for drugs. And when I got out, I was working at a car wash. And I am a firm believer that if you have a task to do, you just show up and do it at 110%. And I was washing cars at 110%, man. And somebody offered me a job in the mortgage world that was a customer at the car wash. And so I quit the car wash, went to work in mortgages. Within about 90 days, I was top producer of that mortgage branch. And I had no experience, man. I'm like a convicted felon, didn't even have a credit card, but I could sell. And so she taught me the mortgage background, and I ended up making I think it's like $14,000 or $15,000 within my first 60 days of having, a mortgage license. I was like, oh, dude, I'm rich, and yeah. Especially coming from a car wash where I was making like $800 a week, and so from there, I just kind of caught the bug. Well, long story short, I had to go back to prison again, man, because I got a little bit out of my element. I moved into a small town, bought one of the biggest houses in the town, had a bunch of cars. They thought I was selling drugs again. And I wasn't selling drugs. I haven't sold drugs since the first time I got in trouble for it. But I had a gun. And long story short, in Texas, you can have a gun if you're a felon in your house. But according to the ATF, they don't recognize Texas's right to give you for you to have a gun. It's kind of like marijuana in Colorado. You can own and sell marijuana in Colorado, but if the DEA catches you, you're going to do some time. And I fell under like a similar bracket to that, end up having to go do some more time in prison, lost everything and in the process there, and came out in 2009 or in 2008, got back into the mortgage business, 2-time felon, got my license back, became top producer at the biggest bank in the entire state of Texas, was their top producer for 2 years. 2010 happened, and I lost my license. They wouldn't renew it because the government passed a new law, and there was a new licensing bureau, and felonies weren't allowed to take place within the last 10 years. And I wasn't quite to that 10-year mark yet. So one of my clients, a real estate agent, said, dude, you're like one of the best mortgage guys on the planet right now. Why don't you teach other people to do that? And I was 2008 and 2009 when everybody was leaving the business. I was like, hey, on your way out, can I have your contacts? Right. So I was just like, I was killing it, Yeah. And I just showed up. And so I started teaching loan officers how to do what I did and how to build a pipeline and work with real estate agents and stuff. And that morphed into sales training, and that morphed into these different products that I've had. And, over the course of the last almost 6 years now, I've built all this stuff up. And, now I own part of a real estate company, part of a roofing company, a technology company. Like, anything that fits into what I do, I probably own a piece of it somewhere. We own a bunch of real estate, trailer parks, apartment complexes, houses. And, it all stems from, think about it, mortgage and real estate coaching. The realtors and loan officers know where all the good deals are. They also, make the investments and say where all the money's going and everything else. So it keeps me in the know. And if you have a real estate company, you probably need a roof and general contracting company, pest control company, and things like that. So I call it the wheel, right? If it fits as part of the wheel to make this thing go around, then I probably own a piece of it. So again, like to take in the serial entrepreneur, oftentimes that means somebody with ADD that can't get it together. But, we've done this over here in my ecosystem a lot different, man, to where everything really benefits each other.
That's awesome. And one thing you definitely have, I talk about this in other podcasts, relentless optimism. So you basically had to start over not once, not twice, but basically 3 times?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Man. All right, so let's say I'm a salesperson. I'm a sales lady, and I see your ad on LinkedIn, Facebook, all that good stuff, and I reach out. What are some common questions you're going to hear from people who are checking you out?
Uh, you know, most of the time, the people that are checking me out are alpha personality types that are already making decent money. We'll say 75 grand a year or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a lot of beginner people. And the main objection I get is like, is this compliant with my business? Or the other one is, am I going to have the time to do all this? And so what I've done is I try to handle objections before they arise. So I've created the fastest way to create a sales funnel on the planet. You can get it done in less than 30 minutes with the ad running and everything to it. So I've tried to handle all those objections up front. But the biggest thing is not, does it work and are you a good coach anymore? It's, is it compliant and how am I going to find time to do this?
Okay. And how do you answer the compliant question? Because I used to work in the insurance world, and in that part, I can tell you, and it's probably similar with mortgage, but maybe not as much. Sometimes
Worse.
it's worse. Yeah. You have basically, they call it compliance, but sometimes it turns into a sales prevention department. You can't even send out a letter for 5 days because someone has to review it, and that letter might just say, "Hey, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks. Your renewal's coming up," or something like that. So, how do you answer that question? Is it actually compliant?
The things that we do are compliant. There's multiple versions. One of them is always going to be compliant because there's lots of different angles you can take. Mm-hmm. In the event that you do work for a company that's just so regulated that they won't do anything but let you stay inside of the box, then what you can do is you can do the things that you learn in my program for your referral partners. So that's, you can run an ad in your favorite real estate agent's name or your favorite loan officer's name if the insurance company won't let you run an insurance ad. Because really that's who you're trying to get business from anyway. So if you just go straight to the point and help them get a lead, right? The mortgage guy gets a lead. The mortgage person's going to need insurance. They just send the lead right back to you.
Very cool. And then people say, "All right, do I have time to do this?" So how do you respond to that then? I mean, if someone says, is this going to work? Do I have time to do it? I mean, how
if you'll give me just 1 hour, right? If you'll just give me 1 hour and watch the first video and do what it says, within an hour, you'll have your entire sales funnel up with an ad running. And within 2 hours, like you only have to work at it an hour, but usually within 2 hours of you setting that 1 hour thing up, you'll have 2 or 3 leads that come in. So if you could set an hour aside of your time to be able to get 2 or 3 leads every day, maybe even more for the next couple of weeks, isn't that worth your time?
I would say it is. So 1 hour, 2 to 3 leads, and that you're looking at an almost immediate ROI in terms of working the program, correct?
That's it.
All right. So
I like to move fast, and I know that people that are looking into programs like this, they need money fast, right? They're trying to get a solution to whatever problem they're facing fast, and so I try to work as fast as possible for them, and get the things that'll work as fast as possible for them.
Cool. So, and you said most of your people, they're relatively decent salespeople. They've kind of been in the game a little bit, and they're making decent money. So, in terms of who you're targeting, you would say what sets you apart from your competitors would be you're targeting maybe more advanced or maybe more expert level salespeople?
Yeah, really what sets me apart from the competition is, and I have no problem saying this, I'm better than all of them. I have scoped every one of them out, read their books and everything else, and because of that, I think makes me better in one point because I've learned all their tricks and adapted them for myself, right? I'm not stuck to one person or the other, but the real thing that I think differentiates me is I represent the real salesperson. Most of those trainers that you mentioned in the beginning, they're like, hey, church on Sunday, give back to the community, give to charity, wear a suit and tie, be nice, never cuss, any of that stuff. And I'm the opposite. I'm every sales guy, right? I cuss. I have tattoos. Most of us can't get tattoos because we're in corporate situations, but wish we had them. I'm not scared to cuss. I have a drug history. I've got obviously a criminal history like a lot of people in sales do. There's no secret there. And I wanted to be the guy to come out here and sales training is basically my hook. That's how we get you. But really, I just want to help people better their lives. And making money can do that for you. I don't care what you say. Money's not the root of all evil or any of that stuff. Like, making money can fix a lot of problems in your life. And that's really what I want to do, because I know the sales community is kind of broken. They're being told by all these people to go to church and life's great, and they silver spoon, blah blah blah, rainbows and unicorns, and that's not what it is. Most of us are in sales because our parents couldn't afford to send us to Harvard, or we decided to leave school, or we got in trouble, or we don't fit in well in the HR department down there. They don't like us, so we had to go in sales where we can cuss and be ourselves, and we like people and all that stuff. And those are the people that I represent, and I think that's what makes me different. Is I'm not trying to be the stuffy suit and tie guy. I'm the real life everyday salesperson that's on the front lines every day.
Okay. Now, looking at your picture and judging from what you just said, I would have guessed that you're actually from Jersey. Tattoos and cussing and everything. That's funny.
We Texans have a special way of articulating cuss words, man. Like, we're a special breed down here.
Okay. Nice. All right. So how long have you been running your podcast? The Hardcore, is it called the Hardcore Closer, or what do you call
yes.
What's the name of your podcast?
Yeah, the Hardcore Closer podcast. We've been doing that. We're on episode 19 that's out. So it's fairly new. We've been doing it since March, I think. I had a podcast before. It's still up on iTunes as well. It's called Rockstar Closer, and I recorded like 130 episodes from 2011 until last year, and I ended that. And a friend of mine, Robert, reached out and offered to start up this Hardcore Closer podcast and do all the legwork for me. So we fired I had retired from podcasting, and we fired it back up. But we've had over 1 million listens already, so it's pretty cool, man.
That's awesome. Very cool. So now, what has actually changed? So, I mean, if you're talking building funnels and stuff like that, has anything changed from when you first got into sales to now?
Oh, of course, man. Of course. When I first got into sales, it was all about the phone. You make phone calls, you call people, you knock on doors, that kind of stuff. In 2016, 90% of the traffic to my website is mobile. Mm-hmm. So I know that everything I need to do needs to be on somebody's phone, and phone calls are the least the least used app on phones is the call app. People just don't use it, and people are chatting, they're Snapchatting, they're Instagramming, they're Facebooking, they're LinkedIning, they're Slacking, they're doing all these things, but they're not making phone calls. And so and this makes me different from a lot of sales trainers too. Is when I see a trend, I don't fight it. I go with it, right? I want to perform Aikido with it, right? And so I see that all these people are on their phones and they're not making calls. So I've learned how to adapt my selling to sell through text. I can write a sales letter. I can create a sales video. I'm able to sell through email because I know that that's what people are doing right now. They're not picking up the phone. I called all sorts of people today. I was training some sales guys downstairs, and I called all sorts of people. Nobody answered. I texted them first. Every single one of them replied to the text and then answered when I called. Yeah. And that's the future. It's not even the future. It's the present, right? If you're still relying on only the phone call and you're calling from your business line and not texting people, you're losing 90% of your prospects right out the gate.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one thing for my company. I definitely push my salespeople too, is to text more. Whereas maybe even 6 years ago, 8 years ago, that was kind of like, oh, I'm not going to call him on his cell phone. It's kind of sacred ground. Someone even asked me today. Someone says, "Well, do you have a landline or do you have a house line?" And I said, "No, nobody does. What are you
Nope.
kidding me? Nobody does." All right. So what about then? Do you change the approach? So you mentioned everything else: Instagram, Snapchat, email. Do you change the actual approach or how the message is depending on what sort of medium you're trying to connect with somebody?
If I'm making posts,
mm-hmm.
like my posts on Instagram are different than my posts on Facebook. And my posts on LinkedIn are different than the other two. So yes, but if I'm having sales conversations, no, it's the same regardless. I have a process I call Catch. We sell it in some of our sales training programs, and I use that whether it's text, email, Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't matter. It works across, even on the phone, face-to-face, video, doesn't matter. It works across all platforms. And matter of fact, today I was downstairs showing these sales guys like I was talking about. I got 5 of them here, teaching them how to reach out to people, and I got 5 people on the phone and sold 4 of them. So
now, in terms of
2 of them I never even talked to. I just sold through text.
I was going to ask that. So for your sales process, for you personally and for your other businesses, how much of that, and this is probably fairly attractive because a lot of people who are going to listen to your podcast or who are going to listen to our podcast are either an entrepreneur and they're kind of on their own, or they're in a situation where it's not so much a team environment, where it could be, yeah, I'm the guy who's selling mortgages, I'm the guy who's selling real estate, I'm the guy who's selling insurance. How much of that is really set up to maybe be a one call close versus setting up, multiple appointments and maybe dragging out the sales cycle a little bit?
I believe in something called permission-based selling. I coined that last year. Okay. And I realized that sometimes, most people don't buy on the first call. And these people that have been watching me in this example, that I ask everybody, how long you been watching me? And the shortest one had been watching me 4 months. 6 and 8 months were the rest of them. And so at that point, they're already familiar with me. Like we talked about, I've already retargeted them and ran ads to them. And so they're seeing me everywhere before they reach out. And that's modern day selling, right? Instead of me cold calling them 8 times and then them finally, talking to me, they see 8 of my ads and then they reach out to me. And, it's been one of those situations to where, I've had to adapt to that first of all, but oftentimes the people that I talk to on the phone or the people that I have through chat message, I've still got to follow up with them. Like the one person that didn't buy that I got on the phone with today, I'm going to hit him up in the morning and see if he has any more questions for me. Because this permission-based selling means that, first of all, I got the right to advertise to you, and then you reached out to me, so I have the right to contact you. That's permission again. And then if I realize that you're not ready to close on that first call, I'm going to ask for your permission to follow up with you. And that's the key. I may have to follow up with you 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 times. I don't know. Depends on your personality type. But if I want you to get in, I'm going to have to follow up with you. And the most people can't make one call closes like I can. I'm not trying to take that away from anybody, but that's an art that very few people possess to be able to do it at that high of a number. But even if you suck at sales, if you follow up with somebody 8 to 10 times, you're going to have a high chance of them buying from you just because they feel like they owe it to you because you've done the work and following up with them.
What do you think is the hardest thing for salespeople today? What actual part of the sales process is the hardest, or what do people who are coming to you need the most work on?
Right now, and most of my people are looking for more lead gen and more systematic selling, like online and through advertising and marketing, as opposed to like necessarily traditional sales training. This, like, we call it the future of sales training. So a lot of people are looking for that stuff, but most salespeople that hit me up, they say, hey, I need more leads. I need more people to talk to. I think that's the big struggle right now because people don't know where folks are hiding at. Real estate people are like, I bought these leads from Trulia and they're terrible. I bought these leads from this there, and people are just looking for the place to get because it's one thing to get a lead. It's another thing to get a lead of somebody who's actually interested in what you're selling. If somebody fills out my program, they have seen a video, they understand what's up, and they've opted into a website. It's a pretty warm lead. If I was offering $50 giveaway if you share this post, and then we were calling people from that, that's not really a lead. That's no different than calling somebody out of the phone book. And I prefer to deal with leads. I'm not a fan of cold calls or door knocking or any of that, like I discussed, and I really only want to talk to people who want to talk to me. And I think that's what most salespeople are looking for these days because they realize the world's so interconnected. They don't have to spend their time getting told no 300 times a day so that they can get that one yes. They can just not talk to anybody but that one or maybe 2 or 3 people each day. Now, they may have had to send a bunch of emails and everything else to get those people on the phone, but the numbers are still the same. They talk to 3 people, they close 1 or 2 of them, versus talking to 300 people that didn't want to talk to you and you still close 1 or 2 of them.
I got you. Yeah, and you talk about some of the old school sales people. I was listening. I was driving in between customers today, and I was listening to one of the old school people, and what he said is, if you want to be better at sales, you need to spend more time talking to customers and more time talking to better customers. So what you're doing basically is you're eliminating a lot of the time spent up front trying to find leads. And I could tell you, I bought leads from other services, and some were good, and most of them were really, really bad because it's also being sold not only to you, it's being sold to 5 other people, and it's not necessarily a warm lead. One thing you had mentioned earlier is, I'm going to follow up with this person. That area, I think a lot of our listeners and a lot of the emails we get and stuff has a lot to do with follow-up and scheduling. Do you have a module for that, or do you have any advice for someone to say, okay, well, I got the lead. when should I call this person? How should I space it out? Where it turns into the whole, oh, I went out with this girl, I'm going to wait 3 days to call her, stuff like that.
Yeah, we absolutely do. I believe in contacting people every single day, but not all in the same. So like maybe we call them first, then we email them tomorrow, we text them on Thursday, that kind of thing. And, because we have so many different modalities to communicate people. If you keep calling the same person over and over again, they're like, dude, why do you keep calling me? But if you hit them on the phone, then through text message, then through Facebook, then through LinkedIn, then through email, then they feel like they see you everywhere. They're like, wow, this person's really gone through great lengths to make sure that I know they're looking for me. And I believe that really is a game changer with all the technology we have in front of us these days.
Awesome. And how much time do you spend in terms of maybe being a little bit more creative, either in your own business, in either the lead gen process or in the follow-up process? How much of your time is spent maybe coming up with a different way to get a hold of someone versus going with the old school with the gurus who are very, very much black and white? You just make 900 calls, you're going to get a hold of 200 people, you're going to book 75 appointments, half those people aren't going to show up. How do you adapt, or would you say that you've kind of got a model in place now and the actual creativity side isn't necessarily there?
I'm living it every day, so I'm learning and testing and tweaking every single day, right? It's like, I have ideas that come to me and I'll execute them. I spend usually 2 hours every morning, either writing a blog post, making a video, running ads, something like that every morning before I hit the quote unquote the day. You know what I mean? I may wake up at 6 and spend 2 hours from 6 to 8, maybe 5 to 7, something like that. And when it's quiet, the kids are asleep, the wife's down, all that kind of good stuff. And so I can focus. And then every Sunday night, I spend 2 hours, usually about 8 to 10 o'clock in the evening, writing blog posts and testing new theories. And, I'm fortunate enough to where I have thousands of clients, and they test stuff too. And they hit me up in the groups, or they hit me up on message, and they say, dude, I got a bunch of leads doing this. Check it out. So they help me a lot these days too. I gave them the foundation. They came up with ideas, execute on it, and bring it to me. And I get to teach other people that stuff too. So that's kind of a cool part of what I've got going on at this moment as well.
How hard is it now to keep up with everything? So you mentioned Skype, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Slack, podcast. How do you kind of cover all this space?
That's a good question, man. I'm not a lone wolf. I have people that do sales. I generate leads. They do the sales for us. They work for us directly. I have contractors that do my graphics, and I have tech guys that build all of our programs once I create the content and that support our clients. So basically, I used to do it all until about a year and a half ago. I started firing myself from positions and hiring people to replace me from that position. And now I'm at a point, Marcelo, where I do only the money-making Ryan Stewman things for this business, right? Which include making videos. Nobody can do videos but me, right? Because I'm the guy. Nobody can write blog posts but me, because it's got to come from me. Nobody can run the ads but me. I've tried to hire that stuff out. Nobody's as good as I am. I paid a guy $10,000 to do it last month for me. Performed at half of what I do on a regular basis, and hell, I'm winging it half the time. And no offense to him, right? It probably his stuff is really good, and it probably works for a lot of people. But I'm the guy that has to run this stuff at the forefront for me. So there's about 5 money-making activities that I can't fire myself from, and those are the only things that I do. Everything else has been subbed out to either management or the sales team or the tech team or something of that nature. Cool.
Now, pretty much aside from your own stuff, and we always like to get something of value, and the one thing for our podcast is we like to make it really quick, 30 to 45 minutes, and you kind of get the information. So if you've been searching for, okay, when's the best time to post something, Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever, we like to give that resource all in one spot. What would you say, aside from your own stuff, would be your favorite recommendation? It could be a book, it could be an app, it could be a course, it could just be something that you're currently doing that would help your listeners and that would also help my listeners.
That's a good question. There's lots of great resources out there, obviously. One of the things that I do, I'm always continuing. I read books. I'm in a bunch of masterminds. I am in a bunch of different programs. And, I can tell you there's a couple things that's really changed the game for me. One of them is reading the book Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Chet's passed away now. He's probably the best salesman to ever live in all reality. Like, he was a true salesman, just a bad dude and awesome guy. And he just died way too young. And then there's another book called Kick-Ass Copyright and Secrets of a Marketing Rebel by my main man, John Carlton. And it's a $100 book. Imagine that. And but it will change your life, and it'll teach you to sell through your fingertips, through writing. And I believe that that's the future of sales, right? People are talking less and writing more. So if you're going to be in sales, you better learn to sell with your fingers, or these little internet nerds that are doing that are going to replace the stereotype of a salesman,
Mm-hmm. Now, do you consider yourself at this point, are you more of a marketer, or do you consider yourself more of an actual salesperson?
Man, sales is in my blood, so I'm always a salesperson first. If you ask me, I'm like, if even my bio says I'm a salesman, dad, husband, like I'm a salesman first, and because that's really what it's all about to me. I know that without salespeople, the world would be full of really cool products that nobody knew about, and I think that it's our job. Like a salesman somewhere sold iPhones, right? And without iPhones, our world wouldn't even be the same. These things save people's lives. And if some salesman hadn't helped Steve Jobs spread the word about them, they wouldn't exist. And we say, oh, they're cool, they sell themselves. Somebody had to sell it to AT&T to get them to market it first. And so, I believe that we salespeople, we change and help the world. And I like to identify myself as a salesperson first.
Cool. Let me ask you this, and I want to keep up in terms of trends and stuff like that. Is there any way a salesperson or a marketer can utilize the fastest growing trend, Pokemon Go, for their business?
Yeah, so if you own a small business, why not put a Pokemon in the business so that people have to come through the front door? People are chasing them down, so why not get one and put it in your business? I don't know how it works, so forgive me. But, I mean, if people are showing up in random places, why don't you put one in yours so that people come to your store? The other thing is, I was telling my real estate agents this morning, I was like, Pokemon Go is not something that my clientele is involved in. They ain't got time for that. However, if you have an open house and you're a real estate agent and you get one of those Pokemon figures inside the house there, right? And then the little kids are going to be chasing it and bring their parents over, and it's going to look like you got a lot of traffic at the open house, and you can collect some leads and stuff like that. So if you own a small business, or if you're a real estate agent and you have listings and stuff like that, getting one of those little critters digitally inside of your actual location, which is probably how they plan on monetizing it, man. You can probably buy those things in the future and put them wherever so that people go through your store. Because I came up with this idea, and then my assistant sent me a message this morning. She's like, hey, look, people are already starting to do what you were talking about. Like, you weren't the only one with this idea. It's like, that's the way to do it, man. If people are tracking that thing through GPS, don't you want if they're looking for treasure, which is Pokemon, don't you want that treasure inside your store so that that's where they come to dig? And then you'd be like, hey, buy my stuff.
Yeah. What we were talking about, I guess, and my wife, she had just commented about that. Like, if I own a small, like, physical store, basically what you could do, I think it's called a lure. So basically, it attracts all the little Pokemon, and then if people are looking for it, they're going to be at your store. So pretty much, yeah, you're pretty much paying for it.
Yeah.
And what was the other? I'm drawn. Oh yeah, I saw a guy. He's in very smart guy. He changed. I think he's pretty much selling like cell phones. So he changed all his advertising and basically said, hey, you're not going to be able to catch all the Pokemon unless you have a new phone. Come on in.
Yep. I dig it. Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah. Very
cool.
You
don't have enough digital space on that 16 gig phone. It's time to upgrade, buddy.
Yep. So, all right. So we talk about being where our clients are right now. So that is no longer, or that's definitely fading away from being on the phone or actually picking up the phone and calling. So people are in all different sorts of spaces now. Again, Snapchat, Instagram, email, people are checking, text message. If someone wanted to get a hold of you, how can someone find you, Ryan? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm always on social media, and you can go to clixo.com, CLYXO.com/closer, and you can find all my social media profiles there. I own that company, Clixo, You can sign up for free while you're there, clyxo.com. And like, instead of me telling you to go to Instagram and LinkedIn and giving you all these different handles to memorize, like Clixo's one-stop shop. It's just a one-page lander with all your social media stuff on there. It takes about 90 seconds to set up. It's absolutely free. And I built it because I needed it. And the guy's like, dude, you could house like 1 million people on this server that you paid for. So I was like, well, just give it to the sales community then. If they want to use it, they can use it for free.
Very cool. Very cool. Do you have any final thoughts, anything else you want to share with our listeners today?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate this, some cool questions and a good conversation, man. I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully I have inspired, maybe shared some insider information that folks listening to this hadn't thought of before.
No, it's definitely great having you on. We're gonna have show notes just like everything else over on the website. We'll have a link over to your podcast as well, hardcorecloser.com. And what I definitely like about having you as an actual guest host, salespeople are definitely different. Someone just the other day told me, some of the best salespeople now are more introverts. And I think it really depends on who you're actually going after. And you're definitely hitting a very, very different audience than some of the other guest speakers who we had on board. And that's not necessarily it's not a bad thing. So someone that is already doing well for themselves, someone that is a little bit less formal and just pretty much straight talk. And it's kind of funny too. And for me and for my business, I think honesty and just being upfront with people moves things a lot further than anything else. And if you try to be fake and you try to pretend to be someone else, it's not going to work well. So you're about as authentic and as real of a guest as we've ever had on before. We definitely appreciate having you on the show, and I will let you get on to date night. Right? Is tonight date night?
Tonight is date night, my man.
And where are you going?
Man, we are going to go somewhere. We live, like I said, in downtown Dallas, so we're going to go somewhere up the street and have a nice dinner, and then probably a few drinks. So Amy, my fiance's been out of town for a week, and it's just been me and the kid. And she stole one of the kids, and I kept the other one here. And she's been gone, so we need some husband and wife, fiance and fiance time or whatever away from the kids. So we'll go have dinner somewhere nice, and then probably have a few drinks somewhere cool.
Very cool, very cool. Hey, Ryan, thanks so much. Appreciate having you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I'm out of here.
All right, Ryan, what I'll do here, so right at the 38-minute mark, I'll have this edited, and we'll send that out. Any other links or anything, if you have like a new product that you're launching or something like that you want us to put a link on, we can definitely do that for you.
Cool. No, man, I'm good, dude. I think the Clixo and dude, everything starts at Hardcore Closer, so I keep it pretty easy. They find me there. They'll be able to dig into whatever they want.
I got you. It's kind of funny. When I Googled your name, for some reason people are very interested, and I'm sure you've checked this before. It auto-populates net worth. People want to know how much money you're making.
I'm a sales trader, so people want to know what's up. But I always tell them, man, I got a little under $3 million net worth, man, and I've built that shit in less than 5 years. So not bad for a short period of time. I'm really transparent with my numbers. Like I said, we sold $1 million just in Hardcore Closer, which is one of my several businesses this year, and I have the biggest margins in that one, so I get to keep the most of it. So it's actually pretty cool. But I like you said, I'm authentic. And I'm comfortable being who I am, and I pay taxes on the stuff that I say, which matters. A lot of people, if you made them pay taxes on the numbers they drop, they'd be in federal prison right now. And true story, right? And so I try to just lead, because I know that's what our generation's starving for, someone to really show them a paycheck, someone to really show them the CRM and the millions of dollars that's in it in the database, and see right in front of their minds all this stuff, because there's a lot of illusionists out there. You know, they say they're making millions of dollars. You're like, off what, dude? There's 10 people in this program, and you ain't got shit else going on. And I just try not to be one of those people, you know.
I gotcha. And one thing, and I might edit this back in, does it really matter for your program what the product is actually being sold, whether it's a physical product, whether you're doing a 100% services company? So if I'm an IT company, or if I'm an accountant or anything like that, does it really matter for your product? Does it have a preference toward one product or service, tangible, intangible, or doesn't make a difference?
That's a very good question. I have a wide array of products. We cover insurance, real estate, mortgages, consultants, coaches, IT people. So like I have different products for different niches actually.
Okay, and I'll definitely splice that in there then. So you would have a specific product based off of what someone's trying to sell. So you can go to Hardcore Closer and you want to see, okay, I want to be the A1 top of the line insurance person in my town. You have a specific program that is not only compliant, but that actually works for insurance people, and then likewise for mortgages if someone wants to do a different program for mortgages, right?
100%.
Awesome. All right, man. I will let you go. I am not one to stand in between date night, man, but I will catch you later.
Later, man. Thanks for having me on, Marcel.
All right, thanks, man. Bye.
Later.
Well, thanks for listening again this week, guys. And a couple quick things to wrap us up. If you are in sales, you are probably familiar with Brian Tracy, and we have partnered with them to bring you guys a 6-step book planning worksheet. They're a sponsor for this episode, and if you're interested in writing a book or getting that out there, Brian Tracy is offering a quick fill-in-the-blank guide that will help you to determine the subject of your book and clarify your message. And then from there, you can even, gather the information, organize the information, and get all your ideas out there so that you have an outline for a book quickly. Then you can do whatever you'd like with that. I found that this is even helpful if you're needing to go speak somewhere or do a sales presentation. It really helps to just lay out those ideas, and he has a great free offer for that right now. So if you go to pushpullsales.com/Brian Tracy worksheet, which is just all smushed together, you can go grab that free 6-step book planning worksheet. And we thank them for being an affiliate for this episode. Other than that, we also want to thank bensound.com for our intro and outro music. And thanks to you guys, like I said, for listening. If you have any feedback for us or need some of the show notes, you can go to pushpullsales.com. All of our information is there, social links, contact, and even if you want to be a guest on the podcast yourself, there is now a form there where you can apply to be a guest on the podcast. So we'd love to hear from you, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.